Welcome to the first. Is this the first Monday in May? The first Monday in May. 2 point conversion. Also, um, we are your hosts. We haven't seen you in a while on a Monday, have we? Because of the draft. Jay and I have been drafting and being on draft podcasts, so we've missed you guys. For those of you who have like broken up your NBA playoffs to listen to us, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. We are going to cut this one a little bit short so you won't miss the Lakers, Jay's favorite team. Why, I don't know, but it is. So we are going to dive right in. Hey, Jay, how are you, though?
I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, you know, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm good. I have to turn off my, there we go. Do not disturb.
Welcome back. It's
Um,
been about a month. It feels like.
yeah, it has been a month. It's really crazy. Um, it has been a whole month. I mean, I think that we haven't been on. So everyone who again who's joined us, thank you. If you're joining us later after the NBA playoffs, I understand. I totally get it. Thanks for joining us whenever you can. We appreciate you in any capacity. And always remember that Going for Two is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. And if you guys haven't seen the commercials for Underdog Fantasy, it's like an actual dog. It's like the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, except for the Subaru commercials, where a dog is like sitting on by the computer and he's like supposedly the one who made Underdog, and it's the cutest dog ever. So go to Underdog Fantasy because they use a real live dog in their commercials, and up to 100% deposit match if you use our code, which is Big G, Big F, and the number two. And you can play all the sports you can play on there. So do it now, do it soon. Also, I just want to say, like, I don't know that much about hockey. How about you, Jay? Like, I'm not the biggest hockey fan.
I'll watch it. It's fun to watch, but I'm not anywhere near a savant when it comes to hockey.
Yeah, I all I know is that Chicago Blackhawks won the lottery for this Connor Bedard kid, who apparently is like Jesus on ice. Like he's the next. He's the. So I read a thing where it says he is the LeBron James of hockey. So he's like
Get out of
17.
here.
Yeah, he's like 17 years old. He's been touted as the greatest since he's like 13. And I guess in hockey, there's like that no age limit. They just like draft you right whenever, I guess, when you're 17. And apparently he is, like they were saying, the hype was so high when he was 13, they were afraid that he would never live up to it. And he just keeps getting better and better. And he was like 14, he played with the 18-year-olds. He's just like, ah, he's like the best thing since sliced bread for hockey, I guess. And Chicago Blackhawks just won the lottery, so they get him. Yay, if you're a Chicago Blackhawks
Hockey
fan.
is fun to watch, but I don't really know how to watch it. Like I don't understand all of the rules. It's hard to keep track of the puck. Um,
Thank you. And
I'm
have you
like,
seen
where
an
is it?
offsides? Thank you.
Yeah.
I have I have a friend, my friend Jeremiah, who loves hockey. Every week has to explain the difference between icing and offsides to me, because to me they're the exact same thing. It looks like the exact same thing. Like I'll watch it. I watched it when the Avs were playing, but now they're no longer there, so I'm not watching it anymore. But yeah,
I
I
will say this though, it's a fun enough sport to where I definitely want to learn the game a little bit more and participate. There's great energy in hockey. Have you ever been to a hockey game, a live hockey game?
no, I don't go to live sporting events ever.
Ah,
I just don't. I have a phobia of people.
hockey. Yeah, hockey is one of those games where even if you don't know, you know what the heck is going on, you have a beer. As it's fun. It's basically like football on ice, man. Those guys are like hitting hard. I remember the very first time I went to a hockey game, Kings versus the Ducks, and this is when the Kings were like in their championship run when they won the Stanley Cup,
Hmm.
and that game was like it was lit. I thought I was watching football legit. Like the hits that those guys. I mean, those guys are flying on those skates. They're going probably. Like I said, I'm not a hockey savant. They're going probably about 30 miles an hour on those skates, and those are full all out hits. And the glass just like shakes for like 5 minutes. It's intense.
I think I read something somewhere where hockey players are like the most athletic of all athletes. Like you have to be supremely athletic to play hockey. I also read they were like not the smartest of all the athletes. mainly because they get drafted so early that some of them don't have the primary and secondary education that other athletes are forced to have. So, but they're the hey Jamie, Jamie played hockey. I can see that actually. I can totally see that. I don't know why. I can see Jamie
I
playing
can
hockey.
totally see that too.
But yeah, I heard that the hockey player is like the most gifted of all athletes. Like just what they have to do and how they on ice, even it's just
They're
ridiculous.
incredible. The way that they could pivot and switch off of those skates, where they're going from a full out sprint, and then they're like next thing you know, they're like skating backwards, and just the hand eye coordination.
Yeah.
It's
That was not the reason, Jamie. That was totally
not the
not the
reason.
reason. No, not the reason at all, Jamie. I
Jamie
mean,
Jamie is the ultimate content support. Just add water, right?
I don't know what I would do without Jamie. Actually, I love Jamie. Um, yeah. So this Bedard kid, we'll see. He's going to Chicago. I mean, that's a big market, especially for hockey. So we'll see how he's from what Vancouver. He's from Canada. He's a Canadian from so I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm sure he'll be fine in Canada. Like that was my whole thing with Zach Wilson. Aside from the fact that I didn't think he was worthy of a number one pick, but you're taking a kid who clearly has lived most of his life in seclusion, and you're putting him in the New York market. That's like you're asking him to fail. You're setting them up for failure. I think it is really important where people are drafted and who is drafted where. And Zach Wilson clearly in New York
Didn't have a chance, right?
did not have a chance. When the picture that he had to take with the ink with Garrett Wilson and who was the other one they had? He looked terrified. Zach Wilson looked,
Brees,
yeah,
Brees
he
Hall,
looked
yeah.
terrified. So I hope this Bedard kid makes it in Chicago. I mean, Chicago is like what, one step lower than New York? I mean, not lower, but like one step harder to the spotlight is hot, you know?
Yeah.
Like
It, I mean, I'm not going to withdraw any criticism of Zach Wilson though, because he definitely talked the game. He big time playboy, got in trouble with
his mom's
dating
friends.
his mom's friends, and he's out there like we don't want to get into some interesting shows that start with what he's doing out there chasing after moms. But yeah, he definitely talked the talk. And
But did he? I mean, you could tell that he wasn't. When he was asked the question, did you think your play was a hindrance to your team or something like that? And he answered like right away, no, he didn't even think about it. He just said no. And he played so bad that game that you could tell he was someone who was not ready for the bright lights. He was someone who was not ready to take, he was someone who never had to take responsibility for his actions. Because that was like, I mean, no, you have to go back in that locker room on that to that defensive team that played their asses off while you threw what like 4 interceptions that game, 3 interceptions that game, and you played like shit. And you're telling this whole sports world that it wasn't your fault. Even if
yeah,
it wasn't his fault, even if he had played like a sparkling game, most of the quarterbacks, the good quarterbacks would have went, yeah, I could have
yeah,
played better.
they'll take it. You're the quarterback. It's your job to fall on that sword. And that's if Tom Brady does that every single time that his team loses, where very rarely he's the reason that they lose,
Yeah,
then Zach Wilson, who are you, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. Zach Wilson wasn't ready for
anyway,
the big spotlight. And you know what? I'm just gonna say that. So you know that commercial where the guy has this T-shirt that's like all messed up. I feel like that right now. I just noticed that my T-shirt's all messed up. Probably because I just woke up and I slept in it, but that's neither here nor there. I have like a really massive headache going on. Which reminds me, we're only going 30 minutes today, so we're gonna be done. So you guys can watch the Lakers
Lakers,
the
yes,
Lakers trounce the Golden State Warriors one more time. I
hopefully,
don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let's talk really quick. Dynasty rookie drafts. Let's talk rookie drafts. Let's not use the word dynasty because I don't play dynasty. Your top three players.
Zach Gladys, you got to come around.
I
I used to be like that. I used to be like, season long is where it's at. I won't ever play Dynasty. I
I mean, like
watch college football,
Dynasty.
but not that much. But once
I
I went
just
to,
yeah.
once you come in, that's it.
How do I know? I don't even know what I'm going to be doing like when I get off this podcast in 31 minutes. Much less what I'm going to be doing like in 2024. Yeah. So I want the number one pick so I can have Caleb Williams, who might not even make it through the 2023 season and healthy. No, I can't do that. I can't. How in the world are you in 10 rookie drafts this weekend? That's borderline psychotic. That's psychotic. And I'm assuming that means it's all you're drafting are rookie players.
Yeah, typically that's how dynasty leagues go.
Ugh.
Where if it's not a startup, you have the rookie draft every year. They like to draft them like literally like right after the draft. So most of the times these are going to be slow drafts. So they're not going to be the normal standard draft where you have like the time limits and things like that. So you could conceivably do a couple of drafts all at once. 10 is still a lot though.
10 is
Um,
ridiculous.
that's a
And he has
ridiculous
10.
amount.
So he's in 20 because he has 10 more to go. That's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane. That is insane. Jamie, I'm you need an intervention right now.
Talk about hedging your bets.
I know, right? All right, Jay. So, all right, I'm going to say my top three players because this is my top three players that I would redraft, that I would draft and redraft. But I don't know if they're dynasty players. So, Anthony Richardson, number one. Uh, Jordan Addison, number two. And Quentin Johnston, number three.
Ooh,
Yeah, go.
hot takes.
And
Um,
yours?
my 1, 2, and 3 are Bijan Robinson,
Okay.
uh, C.J.
Talent.
Stroud, and Jordan Addison. I've moved Jordan Addison way up. I always thought that Addison was. This is me. I've always felt that Addison was a better overall wide receiver than Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm putting my name on that. That's going to be a hill that I'm willing to die on. I think that JSN is a little bit overrated for me. I think that we're putting a lot of stock into the Rose Bowl game a couple of years ago when he was outstanding, where Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave didn't want to play in that game because they were getting ready for the draft. Looks like a great decision by those guys. But I just think that Jordan Addison is more polished. Blitnikoff Award winner from 2 years ago with your boy, Kenny Pickett, throwing to him. He is the reason. Jordan Addison is the reason why Kenny Pickett is with the Steelers right now. So maybe that's why you can hate Jordan Addison there, Gladys. But I think he's very polished. I think that Bijan is he's just going to hit the ground running right away. He's going to be an amazing fantasy asset. Although in Dynasty, I tend to like to avoid taking running backs until you have a team that's really a running back ready away from competing for the championship, because you want to get those guys, when they're in their second, third, fourth year, when they're enjoying their breakouts. And I think that C.J. Stroud is the best quarterback in the draft, in my opinion. I don't like Anthony Richardson, by the way. I think
I,
that he gives me a lot of Malik Willis vibes.
oh, please. I think that CJ Stroud is probably the best technical quarterback in the league. I'm not particularly fond of his landing spot for him as for fantasy value. Um, I like Anthony Richardson. I think he is. Um, he's in a better landing spot than Malik Willis got in, and I think that he is a bigger and better version of Malik Willis. So I think that part of Malik Willis's undoing is where he landed, and if he had landed with a team that was more, I mean, Tennessee isn't what I would call a quarterback friendly team as far as the play designs, as far as their coaches. So Malik Willis, that's not the space for Malik Willis, and I think that might be Will Levis's undoing. Also, although I do think that they're going to rely more on his legs than they are on his arm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's draft capital, right? Teams aren't really invested into guys that they don't spend first round draft capital on. So, in fairness to Anthony Richardson, truthers out there, he couldn't have landed in a better spot.
Oh, he couldn't have.
Going to Indy, they got Michael Pittman there. They got a pretty good offensive line. They got Jonathan Taylor there.
They
They're
got
in a
Shane
dome.
Stricken. That's the
Yeah,
best part. That's,
yeah. They're who's the competition? What name a defense that scares you in that division? Well, Houston might be a little bit better now, but one player is not going to make that whole better. So he could have landed in a better spot. So a lot of times, fantasy is a combination of talent and skill set with landing spot. We all know that. In that regard, I can see the value in Anthony Richardson, but where you have to take him in a rookie draft, where you got to get him in that first three, that's a little rich for my blood. If I was in one of those positions, if I'm a number three or let's say I'm number four, okay, and Robinson's gone, Stroud and Bryce Young are gone, I'm looking to probably trade down out of that pick.
Jamie, who are your top three in your gazillion drafts, like in your 20 drafts? Who are your top three rookie picks? I'm interested to know. Yeah, I just, like I said, I'm not, like, I'm in a dynasty league with actually Kyle, and I'm pretty sure Jamie's in it. Oh, I wonder if that means I have a rookie draft this weekend. And no one tells me anything. I'm on Sleeper, and I just switched phones, so I don't even know. But
You're on auto pick.
I am on auto pick.
You're on auto pick.
I don't
right
even
now.
know if I have picks, because I think that I may have traded out of all my picks for 2023 by acquiring guys that I needed for that season, last season, which didn't help me a bit. But I mean, like, Dan is in there, and Dan knows that my dynasty. So he's always the one that's like, "Hey, so I'm going to give you so and so. Can I have your 2023 number 2 pick?" I'm like, "Sure,
Sure.
sure, sounds good. That sounds like a match made in
Sound
heaven."
like the Rams. Expletive them picks. Expletive them
Bijan,
picks. Give me guys
yeah,
that I know. Bijan,
exactly.
Stroud, and Gibbs because of draft capital, but wouldn't argue with the upside of Richardson over Stroud, but Stroud is the safer bet. When you're going number one, number two, number three overall, yeah, I don't want to miss on that. But I can get it. I can. If you're in a position where you're like, look, if you're going to gamble, okay, if you're going to gamble on just the highest upside, the highest ceiling in a draft, then Richardson's your guy, definitely.
Oh
But
yeah,
in Dynasty, where I'm looking to kind of anchor around, if I'm in a position where I need a quarterback, I need my guy, for a decade. So it's not going to be Richardson. But I don't hate on anyone who's willing to, you know, gamble on that for
hey,
sure.
hey, Jamie. Quickly, am I drafting this? Is one of those 10 drafts a draft that I'm in? I just need to know that. If you know, let me know. It was one of those Kyle's. I don't even know the name of the league, but you know what league I'm talking about. Kyle, Dan. I think it's the Coin for Two league. Maybe is what it's called. I don't know. Just let me know if I need to
Yeah,
prepare.
I'm gonna need to get in that league the next time one of those a
Yeah.
team opens up.
Oh, my team might open up like really soon. Okay, let's move on because we're shortening. So we did Blackhawks. Let's talk about the college portal, the transfer portal for football, specifically for college football. All right, I am in favor of the portal because I think that it's not fair that coaches can, like, sign a contract for 5 years and then decide that they're going to go to another school and leave the players, like, that they drafted or that they drafted, leave the players that they picked, like, there, right? So, however, I am concerned we might have a startup. Wait, what do you mean a startup? What is happening? I don't.
He was responding to my question. They may have a startup that I can join
Oh,
in. Yeah,
thank you.
startup dynasties when you draft everybody in the beginning. So yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound like fun at all. That sounds like a lot of stress. So my concern is, and I'm specifically talking about CU. So when Dion came to CU, which again, not even sure how that happened. I don't even know the logistics of getting Deion Sanders out here in Colorado. I don't know who looked up and said, "Hey, you know what? Deion Sanders is a perfect fit for CU," because in no universe would that have happened. Like in no multiverse would that happen. But when he got here and he did that, someone taped his talk to the team, and he was like some of you guys aren't going to be here. So he basically was telling them, go into the portal because I'm bringing my own guys in, which is basically what he's done. And I read last week or this weekend, last weekend, that CU has the most players that have left in the history of CU to go into the portal. Something like 50 players have gone into the portal. However, he is bringing in, like his son, I think, is a quarterback now. The kid that he picked off from someone to go to Jackson State. I think he's a cornerback, maybe, or a wide receiver. He's one of those two. He's in the portal and coming to CU. Is this a misuse of the portal? Are people taking advantage of the portal? Like I read somewhere where one kid has been in the portal like 4 times. Like in each year, he's not played for the same team. How is that helping them? How is that helping a kid?
I don't think that it's a misuse of the portal, but I think that some players need to be wise with what the situation is that they had. Let's be realistic. A lot of these kids that are playing college football are not going to be professional athletes.
Right.
Okay, so if you are not one of those kids that are going to be a professional athlete, and when we talk about that high draft capital, right, at least going in round 3 or higher, then you want to make decisions based off of where you can get a good education, kind of get grounded in a little bit, and start really looking for your future. I'm a fan of the transfer portal. I'm a fan of the college student athletes being able to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. I think that
Right.
all of these things are good. I think that it basically just exposes the elephants in the room that was kind of inevitable. The levee was always going to break with this, with the massive amounts of money that college football is making. And then you have the stalwarts always at the top, where these were Nick Saban, and Kirby Smarts. These were their recruiting tactics.
Right.
And now, a kid doesn't necessarily need to do that in order to have an opportunity to make money, make a name for themselves. And a lot of it is you got kids who, okay, they weren't going to be recruited, by a Colorado or a major Pac-5, a major Power 5 conference coming out of high school. And then they put in a year at a local, at a JC, or not even JC, I'm sorry, just at a lower rung team. And now all of a sudden they have eyes and they can go into a bigger program. So for kids like that, it definitely is an upgrade. You're getting an upgrade regardless of what everybody want to talk about, from going to Jackson State to going to Colorado. And now you're getting your games, national televised games, which has an opportunity. We're talking about Shakur Sanders as one of the top 3 quarterbacks coming into the draft, next year. So I'm a fan.
So you're saying Shakur Sanders wouldn't have been a top 3 quarterback if he stayed at Jackson State?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, on that, I am also a fan of evening the playing field, and I think that's what the NILS does. I think that's what the portal does. My only worry is that it is giving false hope to these kids that keep transferring, that keep going from portal to portal.
Yeah, they're bouncing and bouncing, trying to stick somewhere, right?
Right. And what up, Mr. Scampers? And we already talked about the Blackhawks. Mr. Scampers is not a fan of the Blackhawks winning the NHL lottery and the Bedard lottery. Let's just call it the Bedard lottery. He is not a fan, apparently. I'm guessing he's not a Blackhawks fan. And bullshit. So yeah, I mean, and it runs both ways. Like I just saw, not only did LSU pick up the Louisville girl for college basketball, they got another recruit that's like a top 5. But I mean, I don't know why this is Van Smith, whatever her name is, Van Smith, I think, the Hillary girl from Louisville. Why would you leave Louisville and go to LSU? I mean, I know why you would. LSU probably will be in the running to repeat next year because they really didn't lose that many Oh wait,
go
I
there
can.
because you have LSU. You're gonna have LSU. You're gonna
Right,
have Iowa, and you're gonna have South Carolina. If you're
right.
not at one of those three schools, you really don't have a chance to win a national championship game. So if you're Louisville, if you're playing here at Louisville, you
Whoa,
probably
whoa,
want to
whoa,
say,
whoa,
I
wait,
want to
wait, wait,
team
wait,
up.
wait, wait. Before before the national championship this year, LSU wasn't considered in that hunt either. LSU wasn't. They weren't a team that people were like looking to win the national championship. Do you know what I mean? Like they had Angel, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, she's really good," but they weren't. It was the South Carolina lottery. It was the South. No one
It
considered
was it
anyone
was a
else.
race. It was a race to who was going to lose to South Carolina. I think we
Right,
talked about it on our pod. That big game, right? When they played South Carolina, and Angel had like three fouls in the first quarter,
right.
where it just kind of took the air out of that. But Kim, as much as we don't like, my since my partner doesn't like him, I don't.
I don't at
Um,
all.
she's a great coach though, and I just think that that's where you want to go. They're a different type of team than South Carolina is, and then you got Caitlin Clark over there in Iowa. I would expect her to be on some kind of mission, next year. If I'm Haley, I'm not staying there. I got to go where give myself a fighting chance to, play in a national championship game.
Yeah, but I was not getting, or they're not getting the high name portal players. It's South Carolina and LSU still. They're
Yep.
still getting. So, all right, portal done. We're done with it. Unless you guys want something else about it, we're done with the portal. It's good, but I fear that the kids are getting an unrealistic expectation of how good it is for them. You know, and now to the final NBA playoffs. So here's the thing. Everyone knows, or everyone that listens to the podcast should know, that I don't start watching NBA basketball till the playoffs happen. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. It's like the season is like a friggin' decade long, and I don't have the attention span for it. However, I am watching diligently the playoffs, and I do not see one team that I feel is like, oh my friggin' God, they're going to win this.
Yeah.
It's like even across the board.
Well, for
Or am I,
seven teams, for seven
yeah,
teams,
are
seven out
you
of the eight teams have you can look at, and they
Are
have.
you are you counting the Knicks out? Is that what
I
you're
am.
doing?
Yeah. Yeah. That's like the old Sesame Street game where one of these just do not belong. The Knicks, easily the worst team in the semifinals.
Yeah, okay. I can
Um,
come on. I'm okay with that.
but to your
But
point, though, when you look at the rest of the field, you're like, yeah, I mean, I can see the Heat winning a championship. I can see I can see the Lakers. I can see the Warriors. I don't see the Suns either. I'm going to say the Suns are probably not going to be able to get there. So they will be on a. I reseeded the teams. I reseeded
okay.
the eight. So my number one seed is the Nuggets. Still, at the
Ooh.
end of the day, they're undefeated at home. The Nuggets don't have to win anywhere else but in Mile High. So if they continue to win their home games, they're going to be champions. The two seed is going to be the Lakers for me, and that's not just the homer talk. It's the Lakers, and I'm going to say this with the big caveat here: Anthony Marshawn Davis, dude, you are the most frustrating superstar player that I've ever seen play. I want to pull my hair out one strand at a time watching him because it's like Jay Williams. Jay Williams said, what did he say? He said that Anthony Davis he has like these big extremes where Davis can be either Embiid or Joker or better, or he can be JaVale McGee. And he's so right. That's what's so frustrating. And that's what's frustrating about Davis. You're not frustrated about the games where Davis disappears. That doesn't frustrate me as a Laker fan. I am frustrated when he's dominant, when he's getting like 30 points and 23 rebounds, because I know that he can do that pretty much every game. So the Lakers would be the 2 seed. The Heat, my 3 seed. Jimmy Butler, Spoelstra is the best coach still in the field. That team's tough and gritty. They're going to fight you for every game. I will put the Warriors at number 4. The defending champs, can't count them out. Steph Curry is Steph Curry. But Klay Thompson, you got to watch this, because if Klay starts getting hot, that's going to become a problem. Hopefully the Lakers can go ahead and win tonight, and then we'll be able to eliminate them. Um, then I'm going to go with the Sixers. And then the Suns,
Ooh,
I kind of have a little tie there. I think that the Sixers are with James Harden and they're in the two wins there. He's averaging like 42 and a half points in both the wins against the Celtics in this series. The Suns just don't have enough depth for me. And as the playoffs go on and they're getting into these extended series where they're going into series that are going to be, 6, 7 games from here on out, that's going to start to really show. So I don't think that they have enough horses and the depths there. And then the Celtics, I think that they're being held back by coaching.
ooh.
I think that Joe Mazzulla is in over his head with that position. It was a position that was handed to him. They had to have an expedited coaching search, after the situation that happened last year with dating certain having. We were not going to get into that situation there. And then the Knicks just simply don't belong.
Okay, I again, in my limited knowledge of NBA, but my extensive knowledge of the playoff games, I don't have as much confidence as other people do in the Nuggets. Like they should have won that game last night. Was it last night? Yeah, they played Tuesday. They should have won that game last night. I mean, that they didn't is kind of discouraging to me. I think I'm more discouraged by losses that teams should have won than by like the Lakers blowout win of the Warriors. Like, I mean, you know, I think that uh, I don't I don't have that much confidence in the Nuggets. Although,
Yeah, you could say with a blowout, you can say, they just looked completely out of sync. We'll chalk it
mm-hmm.
up. It's a wash. We move on. And that's the problem I have with the Celtics. They made the big comeback and then they lose the game in overtime.
Oh yeah,
They
that was
came back
painful.
from they came back from 15 down late in that game, get it in overtime, and then they squander it there. One thing I will say about the Nuggets though is that again, it goes to the point. The Nuggets don't have to win anywhere else except Denver.
Right?
And it's hard to go into Denver and win a game. We always talk about, role players. Role players are going to be the best when they're at home. That's a true home field advantage, where you go into Denver, that's a tough out. I just think that Denver is a good team. A shout out, by the way, for the NBA getting it right and not finding, or I don't know if they find it, but they did not suspend the Joker for the little incident
They fined
that
him
happened there.
25K,
They find him how much?
25K.
Okay. I can see a fine, but I'm happy that they didn't suspend the Joker and even the Suns owner for tweeting that he didn't deserve to be suspended for that. I thought that was great because it could have Mark Cuban would have been asking for him to be suspended. So
Uh, First of all, why are the owners all these little mousy guys? Like I had no idea he was the owner until they said something. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I was like, who? And you know, I'm kind of with the Denver coach. Like I don't care who he was fucking holding on to the ball. Like
yeah,
Joker was just trying to get the ball and trying to like speed up his game so they could
yeah.
get out there. So if anyone should have been suspended, it should have been the owner for like impeding the game. I thought, or whoever the guy was. But whatever. I'm glad they didn't spend Joker either. But they did, and 25K is probably like a drop in the hat to him. Probably
Yeah.
like, whew, okay,
Joker's been kind of changing the narrative about him a little bit, to being the quiet guy that's never going to like erupt. I mean, he had like the little halfway like football block push last playoffs, where he got frustrated and just kind of like charged into. I can't even remember who he did it on, but you know what I mean? It's just, and then his brother, he got in. They were getting into it, and his brother was like, "Look, man, you don't want this smoke. Keep it. Let's keep it into. Let's keep this with basketball and all that type of stuff." So I like it. I like it. I think that Joker could use a little bit of a tough guy in him.
I think, and I could be wrong because again, I'm not that big of a fan, but I'm pretty sure that I waited on Joker's brother at the bar and one of his friends, and yeah, I wouldn't want like just to look at them. I wouldn't want any of that smoke. I mean, these are big guys and they're from Serbia, and it's ridiculous. But
Yeah,
yeah, they were really nice, but I'm like
you
shit.
don't want that smoke.
Yeah, why would anyone mess with you? That's just crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so We are thanking Mr. Scampers and thanking Jamie for hanging out with us for 30 minutes or 35 or so. We've gone a little bit over our 30-minute like thing. I'm a little slightly under the weather, and Jay is like wearing his Laker gear already, so whatever. So we're gonna cut this one short. I really appreciate you guys so much for coming back on a Monday after our draft hiatus. We'll put it. Hey Jay, which guess I shouldn't probably ask you now, but are you doing Thursday with us? The best running backs, the mock draft?
Is that this Thursday?
Yeah, that's this Thursday.
Oh boy, I don't know.
All
I
right,
don't know. Let's
text me.
talk. Let's talk off. Let's talk offline.
Yeah, well, text me and let me know. It's okay if you're not, because Kyle's going to do it and Kevin's going to do it. So we have like the full thing, and I can jump in if I have to. But thanks, Jamie. You're the best. Jamie's so sweet. But yeah. So this Thursday, Jorge Martin it's his draft. The mock draft is the best running backs ever. I think is how I put it. The best running backs ever. 7 p.m. on Going for Two Live Network, which has a show every night. So there's one tomorrow night. The boys will be talking. Wednesday night, The Armchair. Thursday night, us. Friday night, Jimmy. What is the Friday night show? What up, little man? I don't know what the Friday night show is, but there's a show Friday. So you guys, anyone listening now, anyone listening in the future, come back and see us. We will be here not next Monday. Next Monday will be Kyle with his wonderful, wonderful show, and it's an hour earlier. So come and listen to Kyle, and then I will see you guys Thursday at 7 p.m. to mock draft the best running backs ever. Mine are all going to be Steelers. Spoiler alert. So. So, just in case you're wondering, I've already decided. Thanks, you guys. Good luck, Lakers fans. And we will see you later. Wait, what did Jamie say? No Friday show. I think I'm the off season. I'm on Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday cheat sheet. Tuesday cheat sheet? There's 2 shows on Tuesday now? I don't know what's happening. Jamie, talk to me about Tuesday cheat sheet later. Like, DM me. Tell me when it's on so I can come listen to you. Because I thought the 2 guys were Tuesday on their talk. Okay, I don't know what's happening. Obviously, I've taken one too many Benadryl. So we will see you later. Jay, thanks for joining me. Tell your wife
Yeah, abbreviated but fun.
it was fun. We will see you guys not next Monday, the Monday after next. I will see you guys Thursday.